These three USB microphones are Pod Sound School's current top contenders. So I thought it would be fun to play a game of critical listening and do a blind taste test, you could say, of all three of these microphones to help you decide which one is best for you and your situation. So I am not going to reveal which microphone you're actually hearing until the end of the video. But I will switch between these three microphones and give you their letter and corresponding color. So as I describe each one of these microphones and tell you why they made it to the top of our list, pay attention to the letter and the number and see if you can identify a favorite and why it's your favorite. And bonus points if you can guess which is which. Really listen for the tonal quality of my voice, the full range of frequencies, the clarity. Is one more harsh than the other, more warm than the other, more pleasing to you? And let your ears be the judge of which microphone is the best for you. Hey, welcome to the Pod Sound School. I'm Studio Steve. I'm an audio and video producer and an instructor inside of our courses at podsoundschool.com. So before I break down each microphone, first I would like you to notice that all of these microphones, in addition to being a USB microphone, they also have an XLR output that you can use with an audio interface as well. Which brings up the question, why would you want to use one of these or all three of these with an audio interface versus as a USB microphone? And for that, let's talk about what we're really hearing when we listen to a podcast voice. In my mind, there are really three big components to what makes up that classic podcast voice: the preamp, the microphone, and the compressor. A preamp is the component that actually gives power to the microphone so that we can raise it from mic level up to line level so that it can be recorded by our computer. These preamps are usually attached to the gain knob on audio interfaces. And in the case of USB microphones, the preamp is actually built into the microphone. So USB microphones are actually combo units. They're a microphone, but they also contain three other critical components. They contain a preamp component, and they also contain an AD converter and a DA converter, or analog to digital converter. That means that there's an audio interface inside of these microphones that perform the transduction process by transforming analog audio signal into a digital stream of data. So as you might assume, since these are combo units with these four different important components in them, it would make sense that the preamp component and the AD and DA converters, or the audio interface component inside of each of these microphones, may not be the highest of quality, especially for the price we're paying for these microphones. So this is why it is really cool that all three of these microphones have an XLR output, because when you plug an XLR cable into any one of these microphones and instead put the other end of that XLR cable into an audio interface, what you're doing is bypassing the other components, and you're only using the microphone component of these microphones. And really, the microphone component is the best component of these microphones. The USB audio interfacey components that are in these microphones aren't quite as impressive. But even still, and as you likely can tell by now, all three of these capture very high quality recordings, and the audio interfaces in them are impressive. Just not as impressive as standalone units like audio interfaces and preamps. But for content and podcasting, they more than cut the mustard. So why don't we start least expensive to most expensive and walk through each one of these microphones? The first contender on the list is one of our favorites. It's been our favorite for a long time, the Samson Q2U. This bad Larry goes for about $70 US right now and does an incredible job of capturing a voice with clarity, quality, and even a lot of warmth and tone in the voice. It's a very straightforward microphone and it's easy to use. You just plug it into your computer. There's a headphone output actually on the microphone, because when you plug any one of these microphones into your computer, they will take over as the audio device on your computer typically. So everything on your computer will play through these microphones. If you're watching YouTube or Netflix or something on your computer, that output of audio will actually go out of this microphone, so you'll need to plug headphones in there to hear it. That, of course, is something you can change in your system preferences. Now, as far as the gain or adjusting the preamp component that I just talked about, the way that you do that is actually from the settings in your computer. So on a Mac, you go to the settings and you choose sound. You find Samson Q2U from the drop-down menu, and there you'll actually be able to adjust the input volume. And that is you actually adjusting the preamp and sending more gain to the preamp component in this microphone. $70? You can't beat it. And now the next microphone on our list is the very popular and awesome Rode USB PodMic. So this is really the same microphone as the standalone and popular Rode PodMic, which is an XLR microphone that only works with audio interfaces, and you could pick one of those up for $100. This one that has the microphone, the audio interface, and that preamp component in it, this one is a $200 microphone. Now there's a couple extra special things about this microphone. One is that it comes with this really nifty little windscreen or poofy pop blocker, and that can really help with plosives. The other thing is that it will actually work with the Rode Central app on your computer to apply built-in effects from the get-go. This is what makes it really the go-to microphone for live streaming, because you can have advanced processing effects like compression and noise reduction actually built into the microphone, which is pretty incredible. But for this demonstration, what I did is I went to the Rode Central app, I chose PodMic, and I turned the processing off. Now it is also from this Rode Central app with this microphone that you will find the preamp and that you will give this microphone more or less gain. So similar to the Samson Q2U, there's a headphone output and also a volume adjuster for the headphone output in this microphone. The gain itself will have to be adjusted via your computer. So right now you're just hearing the microphone component and the audio interfacey components of this microphone. I do have that processing turned off. And now we can move on to our next contender, and that is the Shure MV7. We love this guy, an all-around really cool microphone. They make it to kind of look like the famous Shure SM7B, which is arguably the most popular podcasting microphone. This microphone goes for about $280 right now. And there are a lot of fun new variations of this product, both different colors of the microphone and new fancy updates that they've made to the technology. Different from the other two microphones, this microphone actually has a way to adjust your preamp on the front of the microphone. There is a way that you can press a button to toggle between your headphone level and your gain or your preamp level. I already have my preamp level set to a nice level here for this recording. And that brings us to the final moment that you've been waiting for, the great reveal. But before I reveal which letter is which microphone, make sure that you go to the comments below and tell me which one your favorite was. Also, remember bonus points if you guessed them correctly. Did you guess which was which? All right, are you ready? The letter A and also the color red that you've been listening to is none other than the PodMic by Rode. Did you guess it right? All right, now the letter B or the blue color that you've been listening to, that has been the Shure MV7 microphone. Are you surprised? And of course, last but not least, that means that the letter C or the green color has been the Samson Q2U. Now, does that put anything into perspective? Remember that the Samson Q2U microphone is $200 cheaper than the Shure MV7. How did you do? Did you guess them right? I'm excited to go to the comments and find out. Choosing a microphone is one of the many decisions we have to make when we are launching a podcast. And if you are feeling overwhelmed by all of the decisions and want to work with experts to look at your situation, to look at your space, help you choose the right gear for you and your business, we do work with clients one-on-one to help them set up their studio, build their content marketing strategy, and launch podcasts. You can find out more about that by going to podsoundschool.com. And now, if you're wondering how USB microphones compare to just standard XLR microphones that only work with audio interfaces, in this video here, I did the same blind test with our top picks for dynamic XLR microphones. So if you're ready for another blind test, meet me over there.